We all remember those massive Nintendo leaks coming out around 2020 to 2021, right? These leaks contained lots of information, but the item of interest today is this document which explained the guidelines developers were meant to follow when using Miis in their games. It contains a lot of interesting insight, so let's go over it. The document begins with this rather simple cover, reading, Mii in-game usage, version 1.3. The content of this document is highly confidential and should be handled accordingly. We can also see that this iteration of the document is from October 3rd of 2013. Page 2 goes into further depth on how this highly confidential document is not to be shared publicly under any circumstances. Disregarding this and continuing on, we have the table of contents, where we can see there are 3 main sections: Introduction, Maintaining the game's uniqueness, and Cautions when using Mii characters. The introduction on page 4 reads, in short, quote, this document describes the internal process that Nintendo uses to determine whether Mii characters can be used in a game. It is provided as a reference to game designers. Compliance to these guidelines does not guarantee that such usage will be approved. If Nintendo determines a certain usage is inappropriate, even if it is not specifically covered in this document, you will be asked to give up such usage. Once your Mii usage is confirmed, we will provide access to the Mii technical library. Please be aware that Mii usage needs to be confirmed on a title-by-title basis. End quote. Now we move on to section 2, maintaining the game's uniqueness. In other words, rules to make sure your game doesn't blend in with the other games featuring Miis. Quote, because Mii characters can be shared across a wide variety of games, excessive use of Mii characters in many games could cause games to look alike. It is necessary to maintain the uniqueness of individual games that use Mii characters. The following are some examples of such methods. Using Mii characters as playable game characters. Using Mii characters as playable characters in a game can make it difficult to tell different games apart. Make sure that you give Mii characters unique characteristics specific to each game. If this is difficult, one way to handle this situation is to prepare other playable characters that are original to the game, in addition to the Mii characters, and make the player fully aware of their existence. Original characters as AI-controlled characters. If Mii characters are used as the game's non-player characters, it is possible that all non-player characters in the game could become Mii characters. With this in mind, for genres that rely on non-player characters as a source of uniqueness, there is a very high risk of a game being indistinguishable from other games in the same genre. To avoid this and maintain the game's uniqueness, use the game's original characters as non-player characters. Exceptions. In some cases, maintaining the uniqueness of a game is non-issue. Some examples of such cases. Using Mii characters in modes outside of the primary game modes, such as multiplayer mode in a game focused on single-player experience. Using Mii characters as icons to identify players or save data. Using Mii characters for characters other than player equivalents, such as background audiences. End quote. I think this page's recommendations for games to create their own playable characters alongside Miis explains why many games featuring Miis also include some sometimes pretty subpar looking player characters as a choice alongside Miis. A great example of this could be the TV show spin-off game Wheel of Fortune for the Wii. I mean, dear god. Yeah, I think this game would have benefited from just sticking to Miis. Section 3 on page 6 is about cautions when using Miis. Pretty much things that are not allowed. Quote, in addition to maintaining the game's uniqueness, there are a few other considerations to keep in mind when designing the use of Mii characters. The following are examples of these considerations. When using the Mii as a player character, the character's name must be the Mii nickname. Do not modify the nickname in any way. In the case of the Wii U, however, the Nintendo Account ID, Nintendo Network ID, can be used to identify players. You may display the Nintendo Network ID alongside the Mii image without displaying the nickname when identifying players engaging in online play on the internet, for example. The Mii image must also be used when any portion of additional data is used. In the case of the Wii U, however, the Mii nickname is used as the player's account name. You may display the nickname without displaying the Mii image. In the case of the Nintendo 3DS, you may display a nickname limited to the nickname of the player's own Mii without displaying the Mii image for the purpose of indicating the player themselves. Coexistence with a proprietary avatar system. Do not use Mii characters with a proprietary avatar system that allows the player to customize the head of the character. The user may eventually be unable to distinguish between Mii characters and those created by the proprietary avatar system. There is no issue with the customization system for the body portion of the Mii. Small interjection here, I can't help but think the reasoning in this section here probably contributed to Animal Crossing New Horizons' exclusion of Mii masks in the game, despite them being present in all prior Animal Crossing games from City Folk onwards. Since Animal Crossing New Horizons allows the player to customize their own character's features, they may have thought it would be too confusing to include Miis alongside the already customizable villagers. Okay, anyways, back to the document. Considerations for appropriate conduct. Mii characters are modeled on real people. Accordingly, a game's design should not allow any potential bullying, harassment, or other inappropriate behavior. When planning on how Mii characters are to be used in a game, consider the following guidelines to prevent characters from exemplifying poor conduct. Do not allow Mii characters to perform acts of violence that would result in blood, dismemberment, or damage to a part of the Mii character's body, or death or physical injury of a Mii. However, in competitions where characters are fighting on an equal footing as a sport, such as boxing, Mii characters are allowed to hit each other. Do not allow Mii characters to perform actions of a sexual nature or actions that are sexually suggestive. Do not use Mii characters to portray criminal acts or perform actions that would glorify criminal acts. Do not allow Mii characters to be used in a way that is discriminatory. Do not allow Mii characters to use words or perform actions that are either crude or violent. End quote. Moving on to the last section, it's an additional appendix about Mii use with product packaging and reads as follows. Quote, when using Mii characters on packaging, do not use the characters in a way that is not in line with the spirit of your game. Be sure to use Mii characters in ways that avoids possible misunderstanding by the user. To avoid giving the impression that Mii characters play a major role in the game, do not use Mii characters on the front of the package. For the same reason, do not use Mii characters in Nintendo eShop or Miiverse banners. Because resolution is poor, do not excerpt just the Mii from a game screenshot for promotional usage. Do not use graphics made to look like Mii characters. Do not use the default Miis inside a game. This prohibition includes screenshots of the game and any depictions of the game that may be used on packaging in the game manual or in advertising. End quote. So those were all the main sections of the booklet going over all the Mii usage guidelines. The last page contains a revision history, where we can see all the iterations the booklet went through, and going all the way to the latest version we have, August of 2013. But of course, with all these rules in place, things are bound to fall through the cracks, which brings us to the second half of the video, instances of broken guidelines. The last two segments, Cautions when using Miis and Appendix A, are the most relevant to this section of the video. The most common instance of Mii guidelines being broken probably has to be the rule outlined in Appendix A, Section A1. Quote, do not use the default Mii on packaging, in the game manual, or in advertising. End quote. Now, to be fair, most instances of default Miis being used on the packaging of, or in the advertising material for a game depict the guest Miis. And while I would certainly argue that they count as default, the booklet technically never defines the phrase default Mii. I'm giving these developers the benefit of the doubt here because I can totally see how they could have just gone, they look different enough, and not even realize they may have been breaking guidelines. I know why you clicked on this video though. You want to hear something wacky, something crazy, something that makes you go, how could Nintendo ever allow this? Well, let me introduce you to Karaoke JOYSOUND for Nintendo Switch and Wii U. Okay, this will make sense in a second. This is literally just a game where your Miis get absolutely dripped out and sing karaoke, so what's the problem? Well, you see, Karaoke JOYSOUND uses a lot of different licensed tracks in the game. Of course, this is normal for a karaoke game, but the strange part is that they don't censor any of the lyrics in these songs. Like, your Miis can just straight up drop the F-bomb. As for how this slipped through the cracks, I don't know. I don't actually own the proper hardware to play this game since I only have a Switch Lite, and it requires a USB microphone, so it's hard for me to actually investigate, but as I understand it, the game runs on a subscription/ticket payment model. Basically, you purchase tickets which allow you to play the game for certain periods. I believe the game cycles through different licensed tracks at any given time, so I imagine they just weren't required to check in with Nintendo for approval on each track, and, well, I guess they took full advantage of that. Another game that has left some people scratching their heads on whether or not some of the content is even allowed is Drill Sergeant Mindstrong. For some background, Drill Sergeant Mindstrong is a minigame compilation published on the Wii Shop channel as a WiiWare game in 2009 in Japan and North America and 2010 in Europe. Now, when you first play the game, you'll notice that Mii characters are not available. They have to be unlocked. The issue with this is that they never actually tell you how to do so. I struggled to find any concrete information on how to unlock them online, at least nothing that proved to be correct, so I sorta just had to figure it out myself. I was able to unlock them by getting first place on the leaderboard in normal difficulty. Please note that this doesn't work with easy difficulty, although I'm not sure if you actually need to be first place or if you just have to get kinda high on the leaderboard. I really don't know. But anyways, there's only like 4 minigames, so I'll explain them all briefly. Hell Calculation is a game where you shoot at these moving number targets that add up to a specific sum. Keep this shooting aspect in mind, it will be relevant later. Personally, I found this game needlessly difficult, but also I have the processing speed of your grandma's computer, so it might just be a me problem. Hell Shooting is obviously another shooting game, however this one you just have to shoot certain targets as directed by Sergeant Mindstrong. It's a lot easier. This one is also even more direct about the fact that you, the player, are using a real firearm, as needing to reload the weapon using motion controls is a mechanic in this minigame. In Hell Roll Call, you have to perform certain motions with the Wii remote as directed by Sergeant Mindstrong, like saluting, balancing, or standing at ease. Honestly, the controls in this minigame kinda suck, they just feel really janky in my opinion. Hell March is a minigame where, oh my god, is that an assault rifle? Yeah, this is the part that brought up the most questions with players. The minigame itself actually has nothing to do with guns though. It's more of just a rhythm/quiz game. Basically, you have to march to the beat using motion controls while answering questions from Sergeant Mindstrong as quickly as possible. Honestly, I don't think this game actually breaks any guidelines though. Yeah, it's kinda shocking seeing your Mii hold an assault rifle, but I mean, which guideline would this even be breaking? Do not use Mii characters to portray criminal acts or perform actions that would glorify criminal acts. I mean, they have weapons, yeah, but they never actually commit any crimes with them. Do not allow Mii characters to use words or perform actions that are either crude or violent. Well, I don't think this qualifies as crude, and while you could definitely do violent things with a gun, nothing of the sort is in this game. Unless the act of firing a weapon itself, even at inanimate objects, counts as violent. Worst case scenario, this could be a gray area, but honestly, as strange as this game is, I can see why it got approved. For some reason, this game was also delisted from the Japanese Wii Shop channel in 2014. As far as I can tell, this was exclusively in Japan, and I don't really know why. I don't think the game ever actually caused any controversy other than just being kinda mid. So my best guess is that it was just some super mundane reason, but I mean, who knows? And that's pretty much all I got. There's certainly more instances of Mii Guidelines being broken, but I wanted to not take 6 months to make this video, so I just grabbed a couple things I had already heard about. If you can think of any cool or interesting broken Mii Guidelines, please drop them in the comments. Just don't be pretentious about it. Remember, we're all here to share our love for a common interest. Whether you've been researching Miis for years or this is the first piece of Mii content you've ever seen, everyone should feel welcome to join the discussion. Man, I sure hope Nintendo doesn't put me on some sort of list for talking about this document. I mean, I just printed it off from archive.org, so it's not like literally anyone couldn't just do the exact same.
Open up! Open the goddamn door now!
Ow! What the hell? Wait, you guys aren't supposed to do that? It's right here on page—
Shut up and hand over the document now!
I mean, yeah, sure. It's all yours. I can just go print another— No, stop! No, stop! Spare me! I have a wife at home! Please!
It's all going to plan.
Oh, also, I don't know where else to put this, but I have channel memberships, and I'm also an artist, and I take commissions. So if you want to help out the channel, it'd be greatly appreciated. Link in the description. Please help me, please!